this studio in the POS, CoverStar moved from paper to real-life reality. A conversation between our musical past and the present that collided bang into the future. CoverStar, where music history meets its next voice.
Don't stop.
On WESN, the content capital.
The countdown has started for the biggest raffle ever in Trinidad and Tobago on behalf of Queens Royal College, valued at just under $1 million for 3 brand new vehicles. First prize is a luxurious Ford Ranger. Draw date is Saturday, January 24th at the college. Tickets only $100.
Final purchase date for physical tickets is this coming Monday, January 19th.
No further extensions. You hear? Some ticket outlets include IslandEtickets.com,
Bobby's Bar, Belmont,
Better Homes, Front Street and Caroni,
ADM Supermarket, Arima,
Cedric Dookie Supermarket, Eastern Main Road, Dabity, Dobbs Hardware, Diggle Martin Main Road,
ABC Windows and Doors, El Socorro,
Freddy's Bakery, Western Main Road, St. James, and 4 Roads, Diggle Martin,
Mode Alive,
Farmer Supermarket, Santa Cruz,
Sonar Jewelers, Chaguanas and Pinal,
Island Hobbies, Wrightson Road,
The Express, Minimart, Majuba Crossroads,
Stacy Supermarket, Toco,
Leo Rain Hardware, Track Creek Road, ADC Supermarket, Arima. Get your tickets now.
Call the college at 622-1671 or the hotline at 491-1802.
WESN.
Hello, Trinidad and Tobago. Sean Michael Small on behalf of Mark Anthony Peter, wishing you a happy new year here on Breakthrough. Mark apologizes he can't be here. However, we had a show planned out for you already. I am not necessarily going to do it all by myself as I sometimes do on Talking Point. No, we have some guests to join me here to kick off the new year, to speak about new things happening, some of which on WESN, and of course, we have a short carnival, so we've already, many of you probably have hit the ground running ever since the new year started off. Joining me first to speak about the Carnival 2026 and everything that may or may not be going on, stuff that you may or may not have heard about, and perhaps maybe you should, maybe find out a few things that you might want to participate, see, go to. We have with us from the UE's Creative Arts Department and its association president, Miss Nisa Bailey. Miss Bailey, good morning. Great to see you here once again. Of course, you're no stranger to the program, but of course, 2026 Carnival. Now, you would have come on to speak about other things. Of course, you have your own projects in the works, including perhaps maybe we can hear some stuff about Carnival. But before we get into that, though, 2026 Carnival, what is it generally that you're looking forward to with this Carnival? Because I feel a lot of people might, fall into it's more the same.
Mm-hmm. So me personally, again, hi, good morning, everybody. I am looking forward to the fetes, the everything of Carnival. I am a Carnival baby at heart. I love everything Carnival, the fetes, the juve, the mass on Monday and Tuesday, everything about it, honestly.
But now, you've, I believe, directed a play or two. You've performed on stage as well. Of course, that's all part of the program that you're a part of. From your perspective, is there any part of the creative industry that maybe stands out that might be a bit more that you want to focus, maybe not focus on, but that you look forward to more than the others? Of course, everybody enjoys soca, But soca to some extent is a year-round thing now. It's not like there's
Yeah.
a whole set of brand new soca a couple of weeks before Carnival. With regards to the performance aspect of it, what are some of the things you will look out for?
So specifically, the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, they usually have the Old Yard celebrations, which happens the Sunday before Carnival Sunday. I have performed in it for the past 2 years while I've been doing my degree there. And that is one of the things that I look forward to the most, as it gives you the raw, in a sense, aspects of Carnival, the aspects you don't really see as much, not the pretty feathers and everything. You get the traditional, going back to the roots of Carnival from the Old Yard.
Is that something that perhaps, because the academic programs, they're pushing the skills training, you know, and to some extent that's pushing the professionalism of the creative industry on a whole. And one of the fears with Carnival is with regards to the survival of traditional mass. And I guess perhaps we could maybe look at, okay, on some level, it's not quite finished yet, but the creative industry is seeing an injection of life with people coming in with formal training, and perhaps maybe by having formal academics overseeing aspect of traditional mass, one, we don't have to necessarily worry about it dying out, and two, it may then give it a springboard to be, you know, see a renewal if it diminishes. So
one of my good friends, Aaron Phillip, he does a show. It's going to be on the 6th of February this year. He did this as well last year, called Festival of Flames. It is a total Jab Malasi show. He's calling it Festival of Flames Training Day. And it was amazing last year, and it's going to be just as amazing again this year. And that is one of the examples of retention of traditional mass that can be seen just through his work alone.
I mean, I believe we had him on the show last year. Hopefully we might have him on the show again this year. First of all, do you know, I don't know if you know, but why Training Day? Just, I don't know if you get like a little bit of a preview. Do you know what the story behind that is? Because, you know, there is a very famous movie that has different connotations. I don't know if he was going there.
The exact reasoning for Training Day, you'll have to talk to him about that. He knows everything about it. He is the boss about that, and he has all of the information, all of the things on it. He is amazing, honestly.
He's almost like a one-man show, kind of putting it all together and driving the driving force behind it.
Yeah, him alongside some other Jab Malasis. There are a group called Loren Jab. That is a female, all-female Jab group that also works alongside him with some other Jabs as well.
Now, one of the things with Carnival performances, and I think to the general public, not everybody goes to see a show. But a lot of people go to fetes, right? You know, even the creative arts people want to go to fetes. Everybody wants to have a good time. That's part of the culture. I understand that. But I'll say this. Every now and then you get a year where there seems to be a lot of these audiences are like, they're only complaining about the sound equipment, and we're not getting music. We're getting the artists only complaining about the DJ, you know, and there always seems to be a lot of technical difficulties. And like with Soca Monarch back in the day, it always started late. It can never stay on time, right? And I think that perhaps some people might attribute Carnival performances to a very unprofessional, disorganized, you know, lackadaisical almost what's going on, and at this point the DJ at least sounds better than the live performance. But when we have productions like the one you just mentioned, oh gosh, I can't believe I did. Like the one you just mentioned.
Festival of Flames.
Festival of Flames, right, yes. As well as some of the traditional performances, and even maybe some of the old traditional performances. People might look at it like, oh, it's kind of slow, it's kind of clunky. But here comes now creative people with more formal training coming out. Is it fair to say that perhaps people should not hold maybe some of the past deficiencies against the creative industry moving forward? Because I do feel as though there's a lot more effort put into not just production value, but also the logistics behind these productions and performances. There's a lot more expertise, because your program is not just the performers, it's holistic. It's production, costumes, everything around it, not just whoever's on stage, right?
Yeah, so I totally agree. I feel like as more persons get into the industry with more formal training, the events get better with time. They always improve with time. I see more and more people who are stage managing the fetes and stage managing these events that have their degrees in theater arts, they have the degrees in carnival studies, very, very educated, versed people are in these spaces doing the work. And as you see more people who know about the work and have been a part of the work, not only as a performer, but also in backstage work, the events get better. I feel like we need to have that formal training in order for the events to be better.
Right. Is it a thing where, because I guess the stereotype, if this was a movie, would be, on the academics and the people with the formal training will be separate and apart to the culture of the soca industry that pre-existed. And yes, there might be some resistance because, of course, new people, there's always going to be some resistance to change.
Yeah.
But it seems as though there is a bit more integration than perhaps you might necessarily think, and some acceptance of, hey, we can do better, let's do better. Because, you know, a lot of people, they fall into the trap of, well, it works fine. Why do we need to change this? It's fine. But, I mean, on some level, was it fine?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Sometimes when I look at the broadcast of Panorama and the broadcast of other cultural events, and I'm like, why is the micing so bad? What's going on here? Sometimes, like now, I was discussing with some of my friends when we go to parties and we go to different events, we literally cannot be in the event and hearing the something going wrong with the micing or something going wrong with the lighting. We just be like, what's happening? What's happening? Especially seeing as though we directed productions, we're like, what is happening? What's going on?
So is there anything else on the Carnival slate that you could point to, perhaps, that maybe people, because Festival of Flames is one of those things where I don't know, things like that, productions like that, it's not as though it's one of those big fetes that is universally known, and universally the word of mouth is like almost automatic on some level. Is there any other event on the calendar that perhaps you could point to say, hey, if you want to see something different, maybe a little bit innovative, or maybe just a bit more, you know, well put together, check this out?
So I do not have the exact date for it, so sorry about that, but I will communicate the exact dates with you all at some point if I can.
Right.
But there's a traditional carnival character competition at Adam Smith Square that is on the avenue there.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a traditional carnival character competition sometime in February, at the beginning of February. It's before Carnival for sure. And it happens every year. The people who know about it know about it. Well, a lot of people, unfortunately, do not know about it. But it is a huge competition. They literally bow off parts of the avenue so that the masqueraders can parade on the avenue. And is really cool. I participated in it. I participated in it last year with Amanda McIntyre for Baby Doll. And it was great. It was wonderful. It was a great experience, and I'll be doing it again this year.
I mean, I did see it on TV, and that was the first time I ever saw it, I ever noticed it, I ever knew that it existed. But I could also see where if because I didn't turn the TV on, so if we weren't looking at local television, just generally at the time, I would not have known it existed, and I've never seen it before, years before. So I could imagine that even with a broadcast, you know, there were people, there was a crowd, but it wasn't like a crowd. So I understand what you mean. I mean, is there any concern that perhaps, you know, as we start to wrap things up, that perhaps too many events kind of go unnoticed, right? And some of these things, I don't even know if they're, because for the character competition, I don't think it's charged, right, to be an audience there. You could basically just come there, be on the street, they have stands, you could go sit in the stands. There's no fee to watch it, right?
charge. Huh?
Oh, your audio just kind of had a hiccup, but if you could continue.
Oh, yeah. There's no charge for it. It is totally, completely free to the public, as well as it helps the vendors and the stands get more sales. They get persons to buy from them. Is honestly lovely. And I did Dolly Mass with Amanda McIntyre. She is great. She's wonderful. She's another one of our traditional carnival character practitioners who is keeping it alive and doing a great job with not just keeping it alive, but also making it more modern so that it could be retained for longer.
Is it that there's like a sub-community? Because I think for a lot of people who don't know, as you pointed out, this whole subgenre, yeah, I mean, we know that it exists, but we don't know who actually are the practitioners that are keeping it going, what challenges they face. Is it just basically a labor of love every year? They come out and they know, okay, this is our thing. Somebody has to do it. We're going to do it every year to keep this alive?
Yeah, I honestly believe so, because getting deeper and deeper into it, you start talking to other people who just, they come and they say, you know, really, actually, if we don't do it, who is going to? And, you know, people are, they're really passionate about it. You have to be passionate about it to just keep it going, or else sometimes it's honestly a struggle.
Right. Well, I mean, so I guess this might be one of the big questions, because we've spoken before with a lot of other artists, and also to some extent, I think yourself, you know, the creative industry and moving forward and audience engagement. And I guess you could say to some extent, parts of Carnival have some of those same challenges. What would you say to maybe encourage people? Look, you know, we need your support, because it's not just about, you know, money and commercial prospects and jobs. But one, I think people do lament the fact, hey, why don't we have more entertainment options? But then don't actually go and partake. But two, with regard to the traditional mass, this is cultural. You know, we're not talking like small culture, like, oh, well, we used to bottle and spoon a Friday afternoon by a bar. We're talking about big chunks of our history now that we run the risk of losing, but also our artistic history as well, just in general, with regards to all of the stage performances we've done and the works of our various artists that perhaps if we don't keep it going, we might lose.
Yeah, we just need to go out and seek it. You need to have it in you to just go out and seek it. You need to find out, go for yourself and ask a question. Most of these practitioners, literally all of these practitioners, they are people just like you and me. They are very approachable. If you come and ask them a question about their art form, they will explain it to you. If you want to learn about their art form, they most likely will be able to teach you about it, and they'll be willing to give you workshops. And you just really need to go out and seek. Like, for example, I wanted to learn more about Camboulet. I am now performing in the Camboulet reenactment on Carnival Friday morning, because I went and spoke to people. I said, hey, how do I get into this?
Right.
You have to go and ask a question. You have to.
And just remind us now, UE, of course, they have their own traditional performance as well.
Yes, the Sunday before Carnival Sunday, the theme this year is the Legacy Year. Because we are having our Legacy Year events, which started from last year, because we became 20 years as a department and 40 years overall.
Okay.
And we are calling this year's Oliad the Oliad Legacy Year. So look forward to everything that we had times 100. Jab Molasses, sailors, fancy Indians, jab, everything. It will be a masterpiece, honestly.
Right, and this is the weekend before Carnival weekend. The weekend
yes,
before
so
Carnival,
the Sunday
right?
before Carnival
so the Sunday before,
so that's the 9th.
The 9th of February. All right, folks, that is our good friend Nissa Bailey from UE. She is She is the Creative Arts Students Association president, of course, a performer, director extraordinaire, and hopefully it would be now with very formal titles in the future. But until then, she'll be on stage to entertain you in various carnival activities, and we hope that you'll be there too. Nisa, thanks for joining me once again to speak about Carnival 2026, to kick the ball rolling here on Breakthrough. First episode of Breakthrough for the year. Nisa, thank you so much.
No problem.
Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to now switch gears slightly to one of the new offerings on WESN. That's going to kick off tonight. Stay tuned for that. This is Breakthrough. Mark Anthony is not here with us. He apologizes. But, you know, we're going to continue with the show, but after this. Stay tuned.
I wish you would have leaned into that just a little bit more. I think he was missing a little bit of the sass.
On WESN, the content capital.
The countdown has started for the biggest raffle ever in Trinidad and Tobago on behalf of Queens Royal College, valued at just under $1 million for 3 brand new vehicles. First prize is a luxurious Ford Ranger. Draw date is Saturday, January 24th at the college. Tickets only $100.
Final purchase date for physical tickets is this coming Monday, January 19th.
No further extensions. You're here? Some ticket outlets include islandetickets.com,
Legends Sports Bar, Point Fortin,
6 Liquor Mart, Barnes Road,
Mileage Mac, Port of Spain and San Fernando,
Pitt Street Market, R.M.P. Avenue,
Mepco, Marabar,
Tony's Hardware, Belmont,
Shane's Supermarket, Aruca,
Hot Shop, Mukarapa Road,
St. James Pharmacy, opposite the Police Barracks,
Anderson Fashion, opposite City Gate, Icebox, Riverside Road, Current,
Cavity Discount Hardware, both outlets,
Color Shop, Diggle Martin and St. James,
Chuma Supermarket, Valencia,
MS Food City, Tebe,
Mirage Supermarket, Pache Main Road. Get your tickets now.
Call the college at 622-1671 or the hotline at 491-1802.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios. But they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1, find the style number on the tag. Step 2, match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3, search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
In the studio now, you don't need to register nothing. You don't need. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
We believe we defend criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploited the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
We are tackling the hard-hitting topics, some controversial topics, some topics we sweep under the rug. You don't always have to forgive in a relationship for it to move forward.
If it is you are in a situation where you forgive the person, but to the detriment of yourself, what are you really doing?
It is very uncommon for somebody in the younger age group to have dementia.
Atheists don't not believe.
Is that I can't disprove God, but you also can't prove God. So we kind of have to stalemate.
We'll focus on the woman who's being the victim,
right,
or the man is being the victim. We exclude the children.
Folks are trying to study the underlying brain mechanism to figure out how does this particular disorder happen in the brain? How is the brain processing this?
Don't worry about AI. Worry about humans working with AI.
Are you willing to learn new skills to stay relevant for the future job market? That's the challenge that people are going to struggle with.
SM Group International Limited, your solutions partner for the latest innovations, brands, and competent staff to meet your needs. We provide products and services in the following divisions: executive services, event rental and services, power and heavy equipment, construction and property management, food and beverage, aggregate and sales and distribution. Check out more on our products and services at www.smgrouptt.com. Contact us at 221-7445 or email at info@smgrouptt.com. We are SM Group International, your solutions partner.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up, Doc isn't just a title, it's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg,
control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put
Why you
forever.
want the chiefs to lose so? Why you want the chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part
No,
of this game.
no.
Let's go to the last part.
This is 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really
respond to me. Respond to me how you would respond to me.
The first question I'll ask is why?
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say,
services.
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
Hello.
Welcome to Cover Star. This is Advanced Dynamics, where it all happened, the scene of the crime. For 4 days in December, this 22 by 30-foot studio turned an idea on paper into real-life reality TV. When these doors were shut behind performers, it was truth time. No audience, no applause. Just the cameras, the crew, and the ones who comment. Our mission is simple. Bridge generations and genres. Jog our collective cultural memory. You're inside Cover Star, where music history meets its next voice. On WESN, the content capital.
And that is the preview for Cover Star. You've been seeing it here on WESN, and that is going to be premiering tonight. And to help, tell us what this show is about, because I think a lot of people might think, it's another singing show. And we've seen that in Trinidad and Tobago. But actually, there's more than meets the eye with this one, and I'm actually quite excited to speak about it, because we're venturing into some somewhat new frontiers here with Cover Star. Joining me, of course, we have its creator, Mr. Dave Williams, as well as one of the people with many hats, and Mr. William wears many hats on Cover Star, but also someone else that wears many hats on this production, Hannah Abdul, one of the co-producers, one of the mentors, Mr. Williams, the director, many hats, folks. So welcome to Breakthrough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Cover Star, generally speaking, of course, I think if you look at the promotions, the general sense is, well, it's a singing competition, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you were telling me the history, though, because some people might think, why are we doing this again? But you actually had some interesting motivational reasons as to why you wanted to, venture down this. It's well traveled abroad, not that much in TNT, to be fair.
The original impulse for the show was to, Trinidad has an extraordinary music library, and Trinidad calypso, kaiso was part of early recording music history. Some of the first pieces of music to be recorded, calypso, kaiso was big in New York at the time, the same time the technology, and a lot of technology shifts the show takes into account. So Trinidad has been we have a long history, and we have a lot of music, and we produce every year, we produce more. And not only in the carnival space, but outside of that, a very broad history. And finding that a lot of young people didn't know music by Basement Party Andre Tanker, people working in media.
Right. Yeah.
And so this project just reaches into the past, reimagines all pieces of music, and then the contestants, they perform those pieces of music. So that's basically what we started off with.
Well, what's interesting to me, before we get into the show deeper, your background is not being a music producer, is that correct?
It's not. Two things. A few things. When you're in this neck of the woods, you do a lot of stuff. I am parallel a choreographer, grew up in the world of dance and performance and theater, and I am a writer, a commercial writer. Okay. 30-something odd years in both writing for advertising. That's how I make a living, to afford the choreography, the things that don't do anything. So that both of those things have kind of...
It's just that I find it interesting and commendable, because it's not as though, oh, I am a record producer and here I am wanting to educate people on our sound recording history and on all of the history and that. Because one would have assumed, right? No, well, what about the filming of TNT dance and the rich history of dance? But you're like, hold on, I want to go with the music side because I have a vision here. So I just find that's very interesting. I know that performing artists in TNT do wear multiple hats and have to kind of engage with multiple disciplines. But, you know, it's very interesting to me that a choreographer is like, I want to do something for the recording part of our artistic industry here.
Music, I mean, music, dance, art, the creative impulse is is a strange thing. And you find that once you have that creative impulse, people paint, people write, people do all kinds of things. There's few people that stick just in their, in the lane. And so sometimes once an idea hits you, you kind of get up and go with it, to sometimes your own, the detriment of your own pocket and your own, life, etc. But we particularly in Trinidad, when you work abroad, we are interesting characters because we have a diverse range. We have a range, I think, that is broader than a lot of people outside that they specialize. So in Trinidad, because you have to do a lot, because the funding, all those kinds of things not there, you're always multitasking. And this show, like Hannah, will tell you about multitasking. Hannah is a judge, a vocal coach, a producer, and hosting in the show, and is qualified to do all.
So I mean, that leads me to the next question, because we'll get into where Cover Stars innovating on the production side of things and maybe doing things that other people have not done yet. But Hannah, how did you look to, what got you to want to be involved with Cover Star?
Similar to Dave, as a person in the industry, I wear a few different hats. I started off as a singer and performer, and that is really my qualification in terms of degree and profession. So that's my main thing. My love of the arts is there. In Trinidad, we have to afford to live. That's just a reality of, as an artist, we still have to be able to afford survival.
Yes.
And so one of the ways that I was able to do that was through media. Working in the media industry, so I work as well as a producer, a production coordinator, and Dave, through various projects, we've built a relationship now where we tend to bounce ideas off of each other, and Dave usually comes to me with a crazy or not so crazy idea, and we talk about it, and I get involved in one capacity, and then the capacity grows and it grows and it grows.
Because this is interesting. Both of you all have non-necessarily performing arts industry relevant industry experience, because you've done professional writing, so that's advertisements and stuff, so you kind of know, you still know some degree of that, which is relevant, folks, which is relevant if you want to do a production, right? Yes. Having some insights into that whole aspect of the industry. And you've done actual TV production work, yes. So you have that side of it as well. So it kind of makes sense here. We're not just talking about multiple creative hats with regards to the performing arts.
Right.
People could sing, people could dance, but also for a TV show, y'all are wearing even more hats than that, really, because y'all have some amount of experience. Y'all aren't just the dreaming artists that have no idea how TV works, no idea how advertising works, and they're like, do the thing and make it happen to the industry people. You all have a little bit of an idea.
Dave has pointed out, I think, is a privilege. I think sometimes we don't look at it as a privilege, but it is a privilege being a creative from a country like Trinidad, where you are able to dip your toes into different avenues of the media world and learn from other professionals.
So let me just segue with this question just a little bit, right? Because we speak to a lot of people coming up through the tertiary education system and who are now up and coming performers. You know, they might experience things that their predecessors may not have had a chance to when they were now 22, 21, what have you. On a professional level, not just as a student, not just as a performer, but as a professional performer. And that might formalize things. And when you formalize things, now they're doing everything, quote unquote, properly. So now you have a formal TV production people who do that, who specialize in that. And everybody will then specialize. And perhaps, might you maybe look back on if you would lament a little bit when, oh yeah, we get more professional, yes, but that whole kind of rogue, you know, we could do whatever mentality, get it done, you know, everybody dips their toe in something. So, and to some extent, we have an appreciation with everything that goes into it. That kind of might be lost if ironically, we get more successful and more professional and things scale up. Any thought about that?
I don't think that I'll get lost, because the reality of our environment is that the funding for production is not that great. So you can't, and I always point to credits. When you look at the credits for a short film or a whatever, it had, you know, a couple hundred people to see a 5-minute short or whatever, and they're talking about $1.5 minimum million. We don't get to do that. That's the reality. We can't afford to pay all those people. So you will have still, for some time, until we kind of get to where we have to get to, we're going to be seeing, like in our show, which is kind of embarrassing, Hannah's name about 10 times and my name about 10 times, and it's kind of embarrassing. But it's just what you have to do to get something started. So people coming out of school, they may...
I mean, right now they're still wearing multiple hats, huh?
But I want to argue, regardless of how professional our industry gets or how it grows, that is a part of the creative journey, regardless of what country, what economic state the industry is at, because there's often the saying, if you're not getting the stories that you want to tell, you tell the story. So there's an ownership there as a creative. If you want to tell a particular story, if you want to write, if you want to, you know, why wait for opportunities? Make the opportunities, and when you make those opportunities, that challenge then comes in where you're the writer, the producer, the visionary, the actor.
To be fair, in North America, for big musical records and for big movies, you do still have the key people wearing multiple hats. It's just that you all are like wearing multiple hats in two sides of the production, the in front and behind the camera. You know, multiple hats. So, I mean, it's commendable. I understand we have quite a few things there. We have a lot of do-it-all people as well. It's just the reality of a small media market, I would imagine. Yes. And I think that's one of the things, folks, throwing some appreciation to people, you know, trying to put out hard work. Because I guess that's, so back to Cover Star now. I mean, TV, local TV, it's not just a talk show, right? Which is, you know, that's what we do at NWS. We have a lot of talk shows, right? We've had competition shows, but it's not as though we have like 6 of them at once, and we've inundated our airways with all of these local competition shows. I mean, we can't even keep Soca Monarch on here. But anyway, but now y'all are coming with Cover Star. The timing is interesting, but on some level, you have, am I right to assume, based on what you said, some of the music, it's local music, it's maybe some of the old-fashioned type calypso, or multiple genres?
The music is all inspired by local music or music that we use locally and that we're familiar with or that has been around. So a lot of the pieces, and to get to afford to do season 1 in approaching rights holders to music, that one of the costs that we couldn't cover. Season 1 will be proof of concept. Season 2, we'll be able to pay for those rights to actually use those pieces of music. So we went further back, and we even went into folk music. So we have reinterpretations of Mangoes, Every Time You Pass, folk pieces. We have pieces inspired by work by Kitchener, inspired by work by Invader, a lot of inspiration. Carl Beaver Henderson also, we got permission to use a piece of his music, which was very good. That's where we want to be, actually, getting actual permission and rejigging the pieces. But it is 100% local, because we are writing, and we are producing the music.
Ironically, because I guess that's the norm, right? You want to have well-known songs, and people be like, I know that song, and hear that and listen to that. Ironically, in a lot of these shows, they're not necessarily going to do it the way how the original artist did it. No. But I would argue, at least to me, so I apologize, because with someone I have a little bit of performing experience, right? Okay. So I'm more interested in new concepts, and if the song is, because half the time I don't know the song that's on these shows anyway, right? So it doesn't matter to me if it's especially if it's a foreign competition show. You get that on YouTube. But to say that y'all are having some pieces that y'all are making for the show, that's interesting to me, because then now you're not necessarily trying to limit yourself, what's out there that we could put up. Now you could kind of maybe even massage it a little bit more than normal, because you don't have anything that people are going to have necessarily as strong of an expectation. And yes, you can take old folk, and I assume you're not doing it in the same style as old folk, right? Not necessarily. You're putting a more modern. And people who might not understand that, at least for the younger ones, I'll say this, there's a lot of stuff online where they take AI and they take songs and they switch genres. And one of the biggest ones that is stark in how different it is when they take rap songs and they turn it into smooth jazz or R&B. Yeah. And you're like, hey, look at what you can do if you just want to, go outside the box. And you all have gone outside the box a little bit with this one.
Yeah, the two things about the show is that we mix in genres and we want to cross generations. So even contestants in the show range from teenagers to in 60s.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think with the youngest maybe being
15,
16.
What is the criteria? Are you picking people with established voices, or is it all amateurs like, well, I can't remember what are the criteria for the big ones, but some of them try to be amateurs, and some of them like, we don't care if you're amateur or not. You could be trying to get a record deal for years. We'll take anybody.
It's for people who are more on the amateur side and they haven't broken into that professional, the scheme of things. So we have people some of them with a lot more experience than others.
Right.
But that is not, once you're not out there selling records, performing, stage every night, doing that kind of thing. Although we have had interest from some people who have won major calypso titles, but we have to say, you're kind of out there. So the interesting thing is that that mixing, the crossing of genres, so when you take a song like Every Time You Pass and put it into a genre like neo soul, what do you get? And you change some of the lyrics but keep some of the intent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just to kind of make it fit and modernize a bit.
And it is to point people back to that rich pool of history, the stuff that we have. And there was, to the fact that the amount of the genres that we used to be exploring were way more than now. A lot of artists coming in now feel that they have to go into the
just soca, just calypso, as though we can only do those two things. So it was interesting to bring back a piece, like one of the pieces, which is Carl Beaver Henderson's Fool at Love, you know, which is not a soca song, not a calypso song.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's true, I remember one of my friends' mom was grooving to a song at a party, some old song that, you know, if you're of a certain generation, you know the song, but my generation, you're not going to know it at all. And this is not a soca song. This is just a contemporary kind of pop song. And I kind of remember the tail end of that in the 90s, maybe, when that was still kind of a thing. But now, you know, I mean, I know that there are people trying to record music, but to say that it's breaking through even locally is difficult. But now, Hannah, you wear a lot of hats that have you engaged with the performers. I mean, yes, you're the host, but you also mentor and judge.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of responsibility now, trying to juggle all of those. But what is it like with the crop of contestants that we have now? What have you kind of seen out of them, maybe, that you could preview to us, you know? Like, how are they, the talent level? Because you're not looking for, you know, you have however many years recording experience and professional experience. So, because I do think that on some level, we do have a lot of natural talent here. It's just to unlock it.
Yes, so exactly what you just said. I think we all know that there's a lot of talent within Trinidad and Tobago in every aspect that you could think of. One of the interesting things was seeing that talent in varying age groups and then seeing their progression, rehearsal by rehearsal, week by week, seeing how they would tackle a piece initially, working with them, breaking through some of their maybe confidence. There might be some slight confidence issues there. Seeing them gain their confidence and stepping into a new energy, taking on a piece that they maybe never heard of before and challenging their understanding or that relationship that they have with the piece and seeing how that then influences them. That was a really lovely thing to see as a mentor. Then walking away from rehearsals and then coming on performance day and seeing something completely different is a very rewarding feeling, to go through a rehearsal period with somebody and see them put the pieces together and then come back and own a piece.
Because they're not necessarily like sequestered, so you see them all the time, and they go back out into the world and they spend time on their own on whatever piece they're doing. So you all get a little bit of surprise as well.
Well, the interesting thing, the challenge about Cover Star, we would have...
This is usually the case for reality singing competitions.
But I mean, even beyond that, so these are pieces that they're not familiar with at all, not in terms of arrangement. They might have heard, for example, of the Road Made to Walk by Kitchener, but they might not really truly know the piece, and then in what variation or what genre, they have no reference points to go back to. That's one. The second thing is we would have only given them the piece of music 48 hours before their performance, and then they only get one rehearsal with us. That's 1 hour, one coaching session. So that's not a lot of time to learn words, learn arrangement, and then do, you know, character work, performance work. But when they come into rehearsals, for example, they're still wrapping their heads around the words, around the melody, you know, and that's a really hard thing, to perform a song that you're still trying to understand. What are the words? How does it go? So then seeing them walk away and do that work and then come in and maybe they forget the words, but they perform it, you know, seeing that aspect, it was a really lovely thing to see.
Yes, as someone who forgot a line or two during music festival in a crowd, one of the skills which I did not master at the time is not showing it
Yes.
on your face.
Yeah.
Now, multi-generational contestants, right?
Yeah.
Different ages. Did the older contestants maybe have a little bit of an advantage with some of the repertoire, or not necessarily?
Yes, but what I would say life experience. I think it's more life experience.
The interpretation?
Interpretation. You know, as a 15, 16-year-old getting a love song, for example, a lot of it is imitation at that point.
Right.
You've not been through this groundbreaking love story yet that you can really put that into a piece. So that's an edge that I suppose an older performer would have, but that's across the board. That's show business.
But
you
even
know?
with regards to learning the lyrics and the melody, I mean, yes, you all kind of switch it up, but on some level, you know, were the older contestants familiar with the music, or even then, was there some sort of discovery even on that level for them?
For a lot of them, there was still that level of discovery because the pieces sound nothing like what they're inspired by.
Interpreting mangoes. Mango, I can't sing to save anybody's life.
I have a theory that if you practice at it, anybody could sing, because some of the most famous voices would maybe not necessarily sound like the smoothest of voices, to put it that way.
No. No. So interpreting mangoes and making it into something that Whitney Houston would sing, and changing it into something called Where My Man Goes. It's fun as a writer.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun to create those kinds of pieces. So people, the performers, they're informed, okay, this is where that came from, but what you're singing does not resemble that.
At all.
At all. But it's inspired, and I think that those artistic leaps are important to kind of to communicate that you can be inspired by the whatever. You can be inspired by pieces of music. You can be, and not to just copy a thing, but you take the risk.
Yes. Right, yes. I know that feeling as well. Yes, yes.
So there's a lot of risks involved in this production. The performers have taken risks coming to us, which we're very grateful. Startup talent show to put themselves in your hands to appear on TV. That is a big deal.
Because it's not just an you know, behind the scenes audition and you're scaling up with very small live performances. It's like, yeah, and you're going on TV.
Yes.
So with that said, we have to wrap up, but I do need to ask this question. So you are, of course, one of your hats is to also be a judge.
Yes.
You are also a judge on the show?
I'm also, I had to jump in. We lost two judges for different reasons. Not lost, they didn't die or anything.
I did not assume that, but yes, they were not able to continue with the project. Yes.
On that day. And
yeah, somebody has to.
Which is an interesting thing to note. The judges do change episode by episode.
Yeah. But I do need to ask, because there's always the temptation. Not everybody has one.
Right.
But is there a Simon on this show?
Since we are using different judges for different episodes, so our first Simon was Hannah. What did you score? We won't say.
Well, we eventually will find out.
We won't say. But sometimes in the episodes you see a couple of Simons popping up.
Now, judging is subjective. You know, art is subjective. What we take away from a performance is always going to be subjective. So it's interesting seeing what each judge takes away from a performance, you know, whether that resonates with somebody more than the other, for what purpose it does. So there's always a Simon per episode.
but you know what? Because I've even seen this on a Korean competition show where there were mentors and judges, and it was a active performer who wears multiple hats for her group. She is the producer, writer, everything, right? So of course now she didn't mix matters, because I think you need that to ensure that the standard reaches a minimum at the very least. Otherwise, then it starts to become a popularity contest kind of thing, and like a personality contest, And it's like, well, are we here for reality TV at its most basic element? Are we here for the performing arts and for the skills and to display the music and the interpretation and the risk-taking? Because I've seen the flip side. I've seen those competition shows where it's like, yes, you could tell, because professionally, they don't take as much risks as they did on the show. And that's why some of these shows, like Cover Star, that wants to give something new, has that level of excitement. So,
and we didn't want to be too. We wanted to be kind of, not to say gentle, but we didn't want to be in a situation where people are, but rubbish you're doing on the people's stage, you need to go home and cry or something.
Yeah.
These people,
we still want to uplift the talent that is emerging from Trinidad. So we still judging fairly and we're still critiquing fairly, but there is still that idea of nurturing upcoming, emerging talent. You know.
Well, folks, we have to cut things there, so do not miss tonight. What time? 8 o'clock tonight here on WESN. Cover Star, the first episode, and then it'll be every night.
Monday.
Every Monday night, sorry. And of course, we will probably be replaying it throughout the week, right? But don't miss the premieres every Monday at 8, and it'll be interesting to see where this journey ends. Hopefully, there'll be a lot more to come. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
Folks, on behalf of Mark Anthony Peter, I'm Sean Michael Small. This is Breakthrough here on WESN. Don't miss Cover Star tonight, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello.
Welcome to Cover Star. This is Advanced Dynamics, where it all happened, the scene of the grind. For 4 days in December, this 22 by 30-foot studio turned an idea on paper into real-life reality TV. When these doors were shut behind performers, it was truth time. No audience, no applause. Just the cameras, the crew, and the ones who comment. Our mission is simple: bridge generations and genres. Jog our collective cultural memory. You're inside Cover Star, where music history meets its next voice. On WESN, the content capital.
WESN.
The countdown has started for the biggest raffle ever in Trinidad and Tobago on behalf of Queens Royal College, valued at just under $1 million for 3 brand new vehicles. First prize is a luxurious Ford Ranger. Draw date is Saturday, January 24th at the college. Tickets only $100.
Final purchase date for physical tickets is this coming Monday, January 19th.
No further extensions. You're here? Some ticket outlets include IslandEtickets.com,
Legends Sports Bar, Point Fortin,
6 Liquor Mart, Bonds Road,
Mileage Mac, Port of Spain and San Fernando,
Fitch Street Market, R.A.P. Avenue,
Mepco, Marabar,
Tony's Hardware, Belmont,
Shane's Supermarket, Aruca,
Hot Shop, Mukurapa Road,
St. James Pharmacy, opposite the police barracks,
Anderson Fashion, opposite City Gate, Icebox, Riverside Road, Turek,
Tabity Discount Hardware, both outlets,
Color Shop, Diego Martin and St. James,
Juma Supermarket, Valencia,
MS Food City, Tebe,
Mirage Supermarket, Paget Main Road. Get your tickets now.